Check one. Welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We're broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. And needless to say, we have a lot to talk about this morning. On top of the fact, we'll be speaking with Matt Towner from Empire Bricks and I Code Corning. I think you're going to find this to be a very interesting interview. We had a lot of fun chatting. We talked yesterday, and so it's pre-recorded. But I think there's a lot to learn about Lego. It's the truth. Okay, I have not actually seen this, pardon me, reported elsewhere. But yesterday, we had mentioned the Corning Paint and Post School District holding a vote on December 19th. Less than a week before Christmas. Just reporting the facts here. So I thought maybe I would bring you the results. Now, do you think turnout was high? Well, let's take a look. The Corning Paint and Post School District $82.7 million facilities project vote. Here are your results. It was approved. 475 people in the Corning Paint and Post area school district voted yes. On the no side, 147 people voted against the $82.7 million facilities project vote that was held on December the 19th. I had heard throughout the morning when I started reporting on this, again, I'm going to keep that up for just a second, that some people were unaware of the vote or were maybe seeing some red flags with a vote that's held on December the 19th. You are more than welcome to weigh in at any point on that issue. On a story completely unrelated, and yes, we're going to talk about former President Trump being thrown off the Colorado ballot, disqualified from the Colorado ballot. We're going to talk about that extensively in just a moment. But I wanted to bring you the information about the $82.7 million capital project vote from the Corning Paint and Post area school district. Now, according to the Corning Paint and Post school district's website, there's a percentage at the end of the numbers saying 76.37%. I assume that means on what's reported, what has been tallied. I think when you get to the point where it's 475 versus 147, I think that you're pretty confident in which direction that is headed. On that December 19th vote, on a completely unrelated note, coming from the Associated Press, an article that ties in with something we've been speaking about frequently. Locked out of local government. Residents decry increased secrecy among towns, counties, and schools. We don't have enough time to get. It's one of those articles that goes into individual stories, like a lady that was in a tiny borough in north of Pittsburgh, and there was no discussion on the budget, and next thing you know, they increased the property taxes by 57%. Those type of things. I just thought it was very interesting. Now, some blame the fact, and unfortunately, I think this is a case. It's tough to find people to run. It's tough to find people to work for these small governments entities, and so some of it's a lack of knowledge, some of it is a lack of support behind the scenes, but just an interesting piece. And I found that, I believe, this morning on Drudge Report, but it is the Associated Press. If you want to look up locked out of local governments, residents decry increased secrecy among towns, counties, and schools. We got to take a short break. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about the former president, Donald Trump. Oh, here's something real quick. I know I'm going to run late this morning because our interview went long with Matt Towner, but talking about people being locked out of local government, and it is a major concern. You know, a lot of people were upset that there was not more information about Sheriff Allard, the resolutions essentially against him from the Steuben County Legislature. There's no information to the public, even though Sheriff Allard, of course, is voted on by you and I. But one group here that is not in secrecy at all, Thurston. We've been talking about Thurston for a while on this program. The 2023 water report will be released today at 6 p.m. at the Thurston Town Hall. So you can find out all about that water report that we've talked so much about in the past. When we come back, Colorado Supreme Court disqualifying Trump from the 2024 ballot. Stay with us.
Hesselson is your one-stop shop for all of your clothing and footwear needs this holiday season. Hot finger ski gloves, cold-proof long underwear, merino wool socks, men's and ladies are all in stock with savings throughout the entire store. Carhartt jackets, insulated bibs, and hooded sweatshirts are all available in all sizes and colors. Work boots, western boots, hikers, and loggers, all in stock from the biggest names in the industry. Carolina, Thurgood, Danner, Ariat, Ovos, and Loa. When it comes to clothing and footwear this holiday season, think Hesselsons. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsons.
Has hernia surgery left you with pain, cramping, bowel disorder, even more surgery? Signs a bad product may have been used, and you deserve cash for your pain.
A jury has just awarded $41 million to a hernia mesh victim. So call now.
Call the law firm of Betts & Burrill, 855-656-8444.
You may be suffering from a defective product.
855-656-8444, and get the money you deserve.
Have a happy year.
Happy New Year.
A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year. And a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year from Ollie and I, Grandma Chris.
Happy New Year to our friends and family, and we love you. And
from the Liebeck family.
And you have a blessed night.
Hey, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Shout out to all the gang down at the Corning Elks Lodge. You guys are nuts.
And a Happy New Year.
Have a Happy New Year.
And we are back with Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox, broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. I'm Frank Acom. We're going to talk about Colorado Supreme Court decision right now, but in case you missed the opening of the program, because I've not seen this reported, I'm sure many of you, well, I don't want to say many of you, because the vote was not, the numbers were not what you would call a barn burner of a turnout, but the $82.7 million facilities project vote for the Corning Payne Post School District held on December the 19th. Approved, yes, 475, no, 147. So there's the numbers if you have not seen yet this morning. Colorado Supreme Court has disqualified Trump from the 2024 ballot. What does this mean? Well, there's a lot of questions here. The decision, which I think is worth noting, that these judges are all justices, are all appointed by a Democrat governor, So they are not, think about the irony here. They are not voted on by the people. Yet they are also telling people, essentially, at face value, who they can and cannot vote for. Does this, and I would ask you, if you're a Trump supporter, if you're not a Trump supporter, I'd love to hear both sides on this, because if, to me, at face value, this looks to me like exactly what Trump has campaigned on, right? So if you say, boy, I can't stand Trump, and can you rationalize, though, how this is something that he has been pushing and creating? I know we had Congressman Joe Sempolinski on a long time ago. He's going to actually be on the program tomorrow as well. But he had a good point that people may not like Donald Trump, but they really hate people telling them who they can vote for. They really hate the quote-unquote deep state, which is a term that the former president uses. So does it, for lack of a better term, play into his hands? I think it's a very scary precedent. I think Democrats and Republicans, even, I don't know, it's tough. Even with the hatred that many have for Trump, can you see where this could be troublesome in the future, let's say? A majority of the court holds that Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Now, the decision was a 4-3 decision. Of course, in the statement, they said, we do not reach this conclusion lightly. We are mindful of the magnitude and weight of the questions now before us. We are likewise mindful of our solemn duty to apply the law without fear or favor and without being swayed by public reaction to the decision that the law mandates we reach. When we come back, I know. I just can't run late because our interview with Matt Towner from Empire Bricks and iCode Corning is going to be a little long. But when we come back, we're going to hear from our congressman as well as some others on what this means to them, what they believe this decision means for the country. That is when we come back. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking.
It's that time of year again. The White Elephant Gift Exchange, where you always end up with, well, let's call them interesting gifts. I'm not even sure what this one is. But wait, there is always that one gift that everyone wants and everyone steals. And in the end, only one lucky person walks away with the coveted prize. It's Quick Fill gift card season. Quick Fill. Merry Christmas, America.
Sunday, it's a huge day of football on Fox, and it all kicks off with a special Veterans Day pregame show, live from the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Then, the action begins as Christian McCaffrey and the Niners take on the Jaguars. Touchdown! And in America's Game of the Week, NFC East rivals collide as Dak leads the Cowboys against the Giants. Wow! It all begins Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox with the pregame special. Check for the game in your area.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to family and everybody.
All right, Big Flocks, WYDC, we love you. Happy holidays, and we always sparkle, baby.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, and have a good night, honestly.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas!
And we are back with Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We received some comments on the vote for the Corning Painted Post $82.7 million, the facilities project that was held yesterday on December 19th. You wonder how many of those who voted for the $82.7 million capital bill were Corning Painted Post employees. Fair point. I mean, with those kind of numbers, those dismal numbers. But, I mean, again, you can't expect high numbers when you're talking about a vote less than a week before Christmas. And I was surprised that even many viewers here who are in the know, I would say politically, both locally, regionally, nationally, etc. I was surprised at how many people reached out and said, I missed this completely. It is December 19th. I would not hold that against anybody. Another comment. It would make sense that those who voted were close to the voting facilities and stand to gain the most. Yes, to the facilities themselves, the actual school buildings. That would make sense with those numbers. Okay, Colorado, back to the Supreme Court decision to remove, and it's the Colorado Supreme Court decision, to remove Trump from the state's ballot. This will take effect on January 4th, subject to further appellate proceedings. Again, the irony of justices that are not voted on, that are appointed by a Democrat governor, making this decision to kick what is essentially you can't say the nominee because there's still competition, but the favorite, the clear favorite for the Republican nomination, kicking him off the ballot. The 7 members of the court, who were all appointed by Democrat governors, appeared skeptical about reaching such a conclusion during oral arguments on December 6th, yet they did. Trump's lawyer said that the ruling attacks the very heart of this nation's democracy. It will not stand, and we trust that the Supreme Court will reverse this unconstitutional order. I do think it sets a very, very scary precedent. I would also say that it is what Trump has talked about numerous times, those that are out to get him. So whether you like Trump, whether you hate Trump, whatever your feelings are on Trump, this has to raise some concern when you've heard him echo that things like this were going to happen from day one. But let's hear a few quotes here. This is from our Congressman Nick Langworthy. Today's unprecedented Colorado Supreme Court decision is pure partisan election interference. The abuse of our justice system to obstruct President Trump's widely supported re-election campaign is a blatant assault on the very foundation of our democracy, disenfranchising millions of voters in the process. This outrageous ruling cannot be allowed to stand, and we will not be silent. Also, another comment that we have here, a statement from House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik. 4 partisan Democrat operatives on the Colorado Supreme Court think they get to decide for all Coloradians and Americans the next presidential election. This is un-American, and Democrats are so afraid that President Trump will win on November 5th, 2024, that they are illegally attempting to take him off the ballot. Like the rest of the unprecedented, constant, and illegal election interference against President Trump, this will backfire and further strengthen President Trump's winning campaign to save America. I would suggest that it does strengthen the president's campaign and what he's been saying. And I also would mention there where this has been constant. She's right from the beginning, and that's why the former president has mentioned it so often. And again, it's so undemocratic. Appointed judges making this decision. Okay, we have to take another break. When we come back, we're going to hear from our guest, Matt Towner. I think you're going to find this fun. It's a holiday season, so we're changing things up. It's not all politics. It's not all news. This is about a local business in a small community of Painted Post, something that we like to highlight here on Frankly Speaking. So stay with us. We will be right back.
When accidents happen, you want your repair done right. Bring it to Nappy's, or if undrivable, have it towed right to us. It's your choice where to take your vehicle. Nappy's has a state-of-the-art paint booth and a new and improved repair shop. Let our friendly staff of specialists help you through the process and get it done right the first time. Commit to Nappy's, family-owned for 3 generations. Voted #1 auto body repair shop 17 times in the Twin Tiers.
Thank you for your business.
Insist on Nappy's, auto body done right.
If you struggle to keep up with conversations, if you have trouble hearing the TV or radio, Nano Hearing Aids wants to help you hear better. Because when you hear better, you're actually going to feel better and live a happier, even healthier life. And Nano Hearing Aids is offering not 1, but 2 very special, possibly once-in-a-lifetime offers. Special offer number 1, when you buy any Nano OTC hearing aid, Nano will give you a pair of personal sound amplifiers, absolutely free. If you have a little trouble hearing but don't need a hearing aid, these are great. Special offer 2. Today, Nano is offering an amazing deal on their CIC Recharge OTC hearing aids. Today, you can order a full pair of completely in-canal Recharge OTC hearing aids for only $297. Plus, Nano offers great financing. Payments from only $26.81 a month, 88 cents a day. But supplies are limited, so call now.
1-800-219-0286. 1-800-219-0286.
Hi, Grandma.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas from the Stoper family.
Merry Christmas from
Catherine
and Jen Schmeg.
Merry Christmas from Two Rivers Church.
Merry Christmas. Jesus loves you.
Merry Christmas. Have a lovely holidays and enjoy your evening.
Merry Christmas. It's really good right now.
yeah, just come on down. It's really fun. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. This way. Happy holidays.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. And joining me in that studio, we have Matt. And you have so many projects going on. I don't even know. Normally I introduce somebody from this. You've got like 10 from thises. And by the way, I love the commercial for Empire Bricks.
That turned out really nice. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah. So, well, let's start there. Empire Bricks. I learned from this wonderful article from Out and Home. You must have been happy with that article.
I was very excited when we found out that it was in there.
Yeah. So I learned that, and I think this is my ignorance, but I think a lot of people would agree with me, that you're technically not supposed to call them Legos.
Correct. It's not, the plural of Lego is Lego. There's no S at the end.
No kidding.
Even though you might have an entire bin full, it's still just Lego.
Oh, that's uncomfortable. Do you kick people out for that?
No, but we've had to be careful not to correct everybody that comes in. It's like, oh, you just brush it off and keep on going.
So just so you know, I'm probably going to do that throughout this interview.
No problem.
All right? So just keep that in mind.
I'll smile, most likely.
Okay.
When you do.
Full disclaimer. Hey, you're used to it by this point. So tell us about Empire Bricks and what that is for people that aren't aware.
Sure. Empire Bricks is a local Lego store. We're aftermarket, non-official, so we don't actually have direct ties with Lego.
Okay.
Where we sell used, retired, some of the current sets, and parts and pieces, minifigures, anything Lego related that you might be interested in, we've got it.
So do people come in and sell you their old sets?
Yeah. So we'll buy used sets. We'll buy used just parts and pieces. Minifigures tend to be one of our most popular. So lots of those come through.
But how do you know if the set's full? Do you have to sit there and count it?
Yeah.
Do you really?
We have a few individuals that like to come over to the shop and they just inventory for us, and they'll go through the old sets that come in, and we'll pull through the bulk, like 50 pounds, and just figure out what's useful still in there and put them back together again.
So I don't know a lot about this, okay? So bear with me with some of these questions, because you've either been asked a million times or it's really out there and it makes no sense. So what happens if you get a set? Like, what's a typical set size? Like a good one.
Pieces?
Yeah.
500 to 800 is probably average size for a number of pieces.
Okay, so let's say you get a 500 piece set.
Yep.
You do, not be the guy purchasing it. And one is missing. You have 499 there. How do you get that one piece so you can sell someone the full set?
We have an inventory. We've got almost 500,000 inventory parts. We've got our bulk that we can rifle through and try and find the missing pieces. And actually, the way that we started out was selling parts and pieces. And there's a great website, or a couple of them, Bricklink, where you can go and you see a full database of every set Lego's ever produced with all of their inventory. And you can order individual parts and pieces from there too.
This is like such a culture that I didn't realize. This is all
I
really
didn't have any clue up front either. Yeah, it's quite the culture.
So, and there's more at your location, which we're going to talk about, but I'm kind of fascinated about this. Have you always had a passion for Lego blocks?
Always built since I was little.
No kidding.
My brother and I, bathtub toy all the way, and the first really memorable one was a train set. And still to this day, trains are probably my most favorite Lego sets that are out there.
So do you find yourself working at the store again, Empire Bricks, and just setting up, like doing a set while you're waiting for me?
No.
No?
we don't really have a whole lot of space to do that in store. I did for before Halloween. I was putting together the Hocus Pocus house. But besides that, don't have space or time. Yeah.
Because you have Empire Bricks and you have, which we're going to talk about in a second, iCode Corning, and just other responsibilities. So I guess Lego blocks probably get like to the back burner sometimes.
The fun personal side, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But
so now it's like work for you.
It's we quite often get customers to come in and be like, boy, this is like the dream job. I said, there are aspects of it, yes.
On paper.
You don't get to build all day.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. I'd sit down and build all day.
So what made you decide that you were going to open this? I know you said you had a passion for it, but it's what sparks that decision?
When your basement is so full that
so you already had a lot of this.
To move inventory, yeah.
That's how much you're addicted to Lego blocks.
Yeah. So we had our online store where we did parts and pieces, which was great, kept us busy. COVID actually was better for our side of things because everybody was ordering.
Yeah.
And then we realized that there was no way we'd actually get to part all of these sets. So we said, all right, next best, find a place.
I didn't even think about that. So COVID, we all took up hobbies. That must have been a boom for the corporation Lego.
I'm sure it was a boom for the corporation because everybody was stuck indoors.
Yeah.
When even during the summer months, people were still worried about going outside.
Yeah.
So what better than to order Lego dropped off at your door, and then you get to build it with the family still at home?
Yeah. And speaking of family, this is a family affair for you.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I run the store. We've got 2 young kids that help out in both iCode and the Lego store, and they're my daughter is quite the sales person. Yeah.
What happened if one of your kids didn't like Lego?
They'd have to find something else to do. They've gotten tired. They're not as excited about it as they used to be.
Sure.
Before we opened the store, that was all they played with. Now that the store is open and they
it's like
kinda
work.
have free. It's more like work. Not
So-
as enjoyable to them.
So let's talk about iCode Corning, because I thought I knew more about Lego than I did iCode, but I think I'm right on the same level where I don't know much about anything. Okay?
Yeah.
So tell me about, what is iCode?
iCode is an after-school education center that we have. We teach kids coding and programming, digital art, anything STEM or STEAM related. So STEM is science, technology, engineering. STEAM is art added in there, and then math.
Okay.
So we've got robotics, 3D printing. We have all sorts of video game design classes and camps, and after-school programs. And we have instructors that have backgrounds in that love teaching.
Yeah.
And right now we've got twice a week we've got classes, and then next week we've got camps almost every day.
Wow. So, like classes, so let's say someone signs up their kid for this. What's the age, by the way?
Our classes start at age 5. Our camps start at age 7. And we've got classes that you really need to be a junior or senior in high school just to logically think through everything that we're throwing at you.
And so do you sign up for a whole year? Do you sign up, is that it's full year
Our
term?
classes, for the most part, are full school year. So they would run 9 months. Our camps are 1 to 5 days.
Okay. Well, this is very interesting. How does someone find out more? Because I'm sure there's parents and grandparents watching right now that are really curious, and this has piqued their interest.
Sure.
So how do they find out more about what the classes, what you need for the classes, what, the sign-ups, that type of thing?
Yeah. The best place to go is our website, which is icodeschool.com/Corning128. Or you can check out Facebook page. We have a lot of information on there. We post daily, sometimes multiple times a day, about upcoming camps and classes and photos of the projects that our students are working on. Yeah. So that's just, if you search iCode Corning in Facebook, you'll find us there.
So what came first, Empire Bricks or iCode?
Officially opening was iCode.
Oh, okay.
We started January of last year, so 2022, in the Corning Painted Post School District, offering classes after school for the elementary and middle school students. And then we opened at our current facility in August of last year for iCode, and then didn't open Empire Bricks till March of this year. So we got a little bit of a lag.
It's a crazy year, though.
Oh, it's been busy. Yeah, and on top of renovating.
Well, this is why I'm glad that I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is exciting for me. For those that aren't aware, the location is the old Irwin Town Hall, right in the village of Painted Post. I mean, technically right there. I kind of grew up in that building, and I've got to stop by because I want to see what it looks like now, because you've done a lot of work to it.
Yeah,
like
3.5 years worth of work to it.
Oh, really? Wow.
After having been vacant for, I don't have exact, somewhere around 10 years, mostly vacant when the town moved out and got their new facility.
Got the new facility, and I know that the courts were there for a little while, but I don't think that...
Yeah, that was about all that was still left in there was the courts.
Yeah,
and we still have people that show up and say, "Oh, we're here." No,
I'm sure old habits die hard. So at one part of the building is Empire Bricks, one part is iCode.
Yep.
Do students? I mean, talk about like working perfectly together. Like they get done with iCode and they're like,
"Yep,
maybe I'm going to go to the Lego."
Yep, it works out. We do birthday parties, and so actually we have a number of families that'll shop at the store before or during the birthday party for the gifts. When the Lego store was actually the initial intention for purchasing the building.
Okay.
We wanted to live close by and then not have to commute to be able to run the store.
Of course.
And then I was looking for tenants during COVID, and that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So went out and sought something that would work well, and we don't have much. I don't think there's anything that I know of like iCode anywhere in an hour radius, probably.
No.
Maybe Syracuse or Rochester, but nothing close by.
And that's why I had so many questions, because I think people that know, right? I mean, you know, but
Yeah.
but if you've never heard of it, and not to mention, because of my interviewing ability, I'm jumping around a lot here and going back and forth to Legos, to iCode, so I'm probably just making things more confusing for people watching, because that's how this interview is going to go. But more about the town hall. And now we're talking about the town hall. According to Mountain Home, I think it was, or maybe you tell me. So you're going to have like Airbnb and rental properties there?
Yeah. So we'll end up with 5 total apartments, 2 of which we'll rent out as Airbnbs. They're upscale lofts.
Sure.
They'll be interesting locations in the way that they're laid out. You know, 3rd floor, so you get to see out the valleys in multiple directions, and then 2-bed, 2-bath apartment and studio. So some nice apartments if someone wanted to live really close to Lego.
Yeah.
Or we've got a park right there next door. There's
Beautiful.
lots of opportunities.
It's actually a great location, not only for the businesses, but also to live there. I mean, I think a lot of people grew up in that area that I went to school with and like that. It's just such a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in the country on a farm. My wife grew up on the top of the hill on a seasonal access road. Now that we're living currently in the 2nd floor of the building.
Oh, okay.
There's no blinds on the curtains,
Yeah.
and at night you get to see the lights, which we've never had living where we did before.
So
it's
you're
really
telling
cool.
me right now that you consider Painted Post to be the big city?
Not big city, but it's definitely more than where I was.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right.
It has that town feel, Market Street feel, without actually being in a busy city.
No, I
You still
agree.
get the lights and books.
And I was actually thinking when first time I talked to you, and then when I read the article, driving that way is so beautiful. Like when you're going into Irwinmore and you get to see like probably the view you have,
Yeah.
and to see the river and see the valley. So you've got a really impressive place. And I guess thinking back to when the town hall closed, I would have never really thought what was next for it. You know, you almost think government building for some reason.
Yeah, it's always been owned by a municipality
Yeah.
since it was built. So 1921 was what the sign on the top of the building says.
Yeah.
So 100 and almost 3 years now.
And think about how much history was in that, you know,
yeah.
and how much has changed. And it's fascinating.
And looking at the old drawings for the building, Cornell happened to have them in their archives.
Really?
So we got to see them, and on the 1st floor there were jail cells in the back room, and you can see where like the bars were originally on the windows that had just gotten cut off.
Yeah.
So it's some of the things that we've seen are really cool, and we'd love to find more photos. We've got a few.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Fire trucks used to pull in and out of the side where the Lego store is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they parked in there.
I bet you the museum there over at the old train depot probably has some.
They have
cool
some.
pictures.
They provided us with a few photos so far.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more out. I mean,
yeah, how
internet,
would there not be? Yeah.
The internet for our small little area.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
Yeah.
Old photos
Yes.
aside from the flood. Flood's easy. Before the flood,
I was gonna.
builds up.
Isn't that corny? I was gonna ask you if you had any of the flood markers. Did they have that in it? Because there had to be. It seems like.
We pulled out some stuff from the basement and found muddy items, but no markers. It was at least halfway up the 1st floor, and we're 14-foot ceilings on the 1st floor.
Wow, I can't believe that building of all places wouldn't have had one of the markers.
Yeah,
That's wild.
They pulled out a lot of the old interesting items after the flood. So there used to be transom windows above all the 1st floor doors.
Oh, wow.
You can see where the marks were, where the molding was, but it's all gone now.
I'm sure this is not what people expected for me to be talking about today, but I find it fascinating. Like I said, it was just some place that I grew up. And
Sure, and then a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a small town. If you grew up in the area,
yeah,
you knew the town hall.
I know, and I was at the Irwin Town Board meeting the other night, and we were talking about it because we got mentioning the article and like that. So anyway, let's go back to Empire Bricks, because I'm not even going to try to segue anymore. All right, so for you, what is the most impressive set you ever set up?
The Titanic. Is
that the Holy Grail of Lego?
Of official sets that Lego has produced, it's the longest set they've ever built.
Oh, okay.
Everybody asked me how long it took me to build. It's like, I don't have much time to build and just sit down. It was over the course of 3.5 months.
I would have thought longer.
It's 40 inches long. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. It's big. And
you can lie to me. I'd accept it.
I don't want everybody to tell
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Not everybody's ill-advised on Lego like me.
I get schooled by
I'm sure
8-year-olds. Like there's a lot that rattles around in my brain.
Yeah.
I'm impressed on a regular basis by some of the customers that come in that are significantly younger than I am and know way more than I do. Or ever will, probably.
Is there a set that you want to try?
The next one on my list is the Lord of the Rings Rivendell set.
Okay.
It's probably the prettiest looking Lego set that's they've ever come out with, and I've gotten the okay to have it on display from my wife, so it'll actually end up in our
you got to be
apartment.
running out of room for these things.
In store, yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll have to cycle them throughout the year between storage and the apartments, and yeah.
Another kind of interesting question for me, but maybe a really dumb question. So you're all done with it. Is there something you can like spray on it so it doesn't fall apart, or is that frowned upon?
Nah, there isn't anything that I know of to spray. There's some people that like to glue. I don't recommend it because then you can't ever take it apart.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say that there's water-soluble glue that you could put in there, and then you just soak it in water, and eventually it comes apart. But they really don't. If you're playing with it, yes, they can fall apart. If you just have it on display, they don't really fall apart.
What if you knock it off the counter?
Yeah, well, you can build it again. That's the joy of Lego.
So do you again, I don't know, do you keep, are there like instructions?
Yeah, so everything comes with a booklet of instructions. Some people keep them. They're not necessary. Lego has almost all of their instructions, at least for the past like 20 years online. They're digital now, so you can pull it up on your phone or iPad, computer, and just scroll through. And
I know this is coming up. I'm keeping you long here, but I find there's 3 fascinating topics that we have. You have kind of a special event coming up. Now, it's May 4th, which it seems like far away, but it won't be. It'll be here in no time. Tell us about that.
So the Clemens Center reached out to us, and they're planning on doing a May the 4th gala, Lego Star Wars theme. So for those of you that don't know, May the 4th is a play on May the Force be with you. Instead, it's May the 4th be with you. And so we're going to be a part of that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Helping out.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad this is going well. I can't believe it's been, because I remember first hearing about the stores and thinking that was a while ago, but it really hasn't been that long.
No, we have customers that come in, a couple of years ago when you opened, it's like, well, we've only been open 9 months, but that's, you feel like we're a part of the community already, which is
great. Yeah. And I know you get regulars with iCode because that's the nature of it. Do you have regulars at Empire Bricks now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the nature of Lego?
That's the nature of Lego, yeah. It's fun when someone new comes in. We always ask, because it's my wife and I that run it, we recognize faces.
Yeah.
And it's like, I haven't seen you before. Hey, how'd you hear about us?
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's probably consistent for the past 4 or 5 months. About 40% of our customers haven't been in before.
No kidding.
That's really cool. It feels good knowing that we're still growing and people
of course
are
you're still growing. You haven't even been there that long.
Yeah, but even having not been there long, we're astounded by how well it's done.
Yeah.
The community is. We love it.
Yeah, it's a great community. Just before we go, hours for both Empire Bricks and iCode, did things change because of the holidays?
Sure, yeah. So Empire Bricks, our normal hours during the week are 3 to 6, and weekends are 10 to either 3 or 4, depending on Saturday or Sunday. We're closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Okay.
And then the day after Christmas, which tends to be a big shopping day, we've pulled our hours in, so they're not all late. So we're doing noon to 3 that day.
Oh, okay.
iCode, because we're running camps, we'll have someone there this coming Friday, and then every day except for Christmas next week from 9 to 4:30 running camps.
Wow.
So if you wanted to come in and check it out and see the space, we'll be around and can show you what we got.
All right. Well, thanks so much for giving us so much time, and this was a lot of fun to catch up on all these things that I've learned so much about during our interview, and happy holidays.
All right, yeah, happy holidays. Thanks, Frank.
Yep, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Hot tubs, hot tubs, hot tubs. Hesselson's year-end hot tub clearance is going on now. Over $500,000 of inventory must be sold before year's end, so what better way to start making every day better than today with your very own Hesselson's hot tub. Every hot tub in stock is being drastically reduced to clear out this inventory. Plus, Hesselson's will be offering 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Plus, free cover, free chemicals, and free steps. Don't wait. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Attention and their family members who spent time at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. If you've been diagnosed with cancer, Parkinson's disease, or other serious illnesses, you could have been exposed to toxic water and may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the law firm of Betts & Burrell right now. Consultations are free and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. Call 877-775-5199 and speak to an attorney today. If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks are a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen One, the portable oxygen concentrator you can take almost anywhere.
With this little device, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
The Inogen One is so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen One for 30 days completely risk-free. Give us a call right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days completely risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen One system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 1-800-929-7290. Again, that's 1-800-929-7290.
Sunday, it's a huge day of football on Fox, and it all kicks off with a special Veterans Day pregame show, live from the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Then, the action begins as Christian McCaffrey and the Niners take on the Jaguars. Touchdown! And in America's Game of the Week, NFC East rivals collide as Dak leads the Cowboys against the Giants. Wow! It all begins Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox with the pregame special. Check.
We are back, frankly speaking, here on WYDC TV Big Fox. Thanks to our guest, Matt Towner, for being on the program from Empire Bricks and I Code Corning. Tomorrow on the show, former Congressman, talk about perfect timing with the Colorado decision, former Congressman and current chairman of the Steuben County Republican Committee, Joe Sempolinski, will be our guest. And then on Friday, our friend from the early days, really, Bobby Joe Burdick from Armed Women of America. I told you about the Christmas tree that they gave me for the other corner, not the big one that you see sometimes in the background. But we'll talk about that on Friday's show. Okay, yes, I received some comments about the school vote. Corning Pen and Post School District, $82.7 million facilities project voted on the convenient voting day of December the 19th. Sorry, that was a little questionable. December the 19th, but nonetheless, the fact that it was December the 19th. Approved, yes, 475, no, 147. I received a voicemail. I will try to get a hold of you later, but if you'd like to leave, and this is specifically for a gentleman named Larry, if you would like to leave a comment on voicemail, I can read that on the air. That's the technology will translate it, so I can read it on the air. So if you'd like to get it in a timely fashion, as the vote was yesterday, please feel free. We were also talking about Colorado, and this, I think this speaks to what this viewer, what they had to say, exactly as to what I was saying. They raised a great point. Possible counter reaction should be a Republican state removes Biden from the ballot, too. Wonder what would happen then after a taste of their own medicine. And that's exactly what we're talking about with precedent. And I think Democrats maybe have dealt with this more, but both parties have, where you don't think about the future as much as that instant gratification, that instant win. But I was mentioning to numerous people that if I were very, very anti-Trump, if I hated Trump, I would be looking around at my fellow Trump haters and go, guys, what are we doing? This plays directly into his hands, look at the comments that we've received already. When you've got Chris Christie saying this is wrong, and I don't remember the exact words they used. I don't think he said undemocratic. But that shows you something, right? Well, let's look at, I got to play a little catch up. Not last break, but a quick break. Then we're going to say what Trump's rivals, if you will, all the other people on the GOP ballot had to say. A couple of other comments. And maybe we'll have a chance to get to some other issues as well, but I highly doubt it. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on Big Fox.
Every piece of land has a story written by those who work it. Like the Caggianos, who are brewing their own legacy. Or the Upshaws, who DIY all the time. While the Nelsons play lead in their own adventure, 150 years in the making. There's a story in every piece of land. Run with us and start telling yours.
It's a Black Friday special at Lindsay Equipment. For a limited time, get 0% financing for 72 months on select John Deere models.
Sunday, it's a huge day of football on Fox, and it all kicks off with a special Veterans Day pregame show, live from the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Then, the action begins as Christian McCaffrey and the Niners take on the Jaguars. Touchdown! And in America's Game of the Week, NFC East rivals collide as Dak leads the Cowboys against the Giants. Wow! It all begins Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox with the pregame special. Check for the game in your area.
The holiday season has arrived, a time where more than ever our thoughts turn gratefully to those who have made our progress possible. We here at Big Fox TV would like to thank you for being our viewers. We wish you all the warmth and goodwill of the season and every happiness throughout the new year. This holiday greeting is also brought to you by caring businesses in the community, our friends at Corning Building Company, Carapella's Collision, and Cutler's Carpet and Flooring. And again, all of us at Big Fox TV.
Hi, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Say Merry Christmas.
Another beautiful view of Market Street. That's where the Hesselson studio is. And that's where we're broadcasting live from. I'm your host, Frank Akam. Thank you so much for joining us, pardon me, this morning. Again, I know I've mentioned it all morning, but I did not see it anywhere else, so I wanted to bring the news to you that the $82.7 million facility project for the Corning Painted Post School District, with the vote held on December the 19th, was approved 475 to 147. Okay, so back to the Colorado Supreme Court barring Trump from the ballot. His GOP rivals weighed in on this. Candidate Vivek, pardon me, Ramaswamy, pledged to withdraw his name from the ballot. He said, "I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot until Trump is also allowed to be on the ballot. And I demand that Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, and Nikki Haley do the same immediately, or else they are technically endorsing this illegal maneuver, which will have disastrous consequences for our country." And I do believe it will have disastrous consequences for our country because, like the one viewer said, what if, a Republican state removed Biden, give them a taste of their own medicine? Well, what if Republicans did do that? I don't want to see that happen either. But what if this is the precedent that's been set? Because I think, and you're not going to hear me say this very often, but Chris Christie saying, on the principle, I don't believe a court should exclude somebody from running for president without there being a trial and evidence that's accepted by a jury that shows they did participate in an insurrection. So that's, again, Chris Christie has a good point there, which is he's never been found guilty of some insurrection. So let's say we accept this court's decision, Colorado. Again, appointed by a different Democrat governors, but Democrat governors, appointed, not elected, deciding who the voters can vote on for the president of the United States. So they get him with this 14th Amendment. And by the way, Ramaswamy did a good job of kind of laying out the history of the 14th Amendment and what that means. But we don't have time to get to all that. But you go to the 14th Amendment. Well, he hasn't been found guilty. So is it based on loose definitions now? Again, the precedent should, I think, terrify Democrats and Republicans. But the fact that this plays into the president's talking points should really upset Democrats looking at this court and saying, why did you play into this? I go back to that statement not that long ago that the former president made at a rally that he's one indictment away from the White House. Well, again, to former Congressman Joe Sempolinski's point from a while back, you might not like Trump. You might not want to even vote for Trump, but you hate people deciding who you can vote for. You hate what Trump has deemed the deep state or the swamp. It seems like if you're looking at it, taking a step back from a Democrat point of view or just an anti-Trump point of view, it seems like a very wrong-headed thing to celebrate, in my opinion. Going back to what Ramaswamy said, today's decision is the latest election interference tactic to silence political opponents and swing the election for whatever puppet the Democrats put up this time by depriving Americans of the right to vote for their candidate of choice. And you've got to look at the numbers. He is leading the race for the nominee. Chris Christie said, and this is Chris Christie, no love lost between Chris Christie and Donald Trump. I do not believe Donald Trump would be prevented. All right, let me try that again. I do not believe Donald Trump should be prevented from being president of the United States by any court. I think he should be prevented from being president of the United States by voters in this country. Nikki Haley said, I will tell you that I don't think Donald Trump needs to be president. I think I need to be president. I think that's good for the country. But I will beat him fair and square. We don't need to have judges making these decisions. We need voters to make these decisions. And finally, Ron DeSantis tweeting, the left invokes democracy to justify its use of power, even if it means abusing judicial power to remove a candidate from the ballot based on, legal grounds. SCOTUS should reverse, meaning the Supreme Court. And that is a very good point. How many times, and we know that Biden's going to run on this, have we heard that it's Trump is a threat to democracy? Everything is a threat to democracy. Even the midterms were, some of the candidates were a threat to democracy. And then you see an appointed Supreme Court, not elected by the people, making that decision. We've got to take our last break. Stay with us. This is, Frankly Speaking, here on WYDC TV. Big Fox. We'll be right back.
Turned down for Social Security disability? Help is here.
Let us get you the Social Security disability check you deserve.
Call the law firm of Betts & Burrill now, 888-333-1599.
We know how to fight for your rights. Social Security disability is complex. Put our experience to work for you, and there's no fee until we put money in your pocket.
Denied Social Security disability? Call the law firm of Betts & Burrill at 888-333-1599.
Tired of a pan that always sticks? It's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammered pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before. Hammered pans are ultra non-stick and they're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie or this whole chicken dinner. Use metal beaters straight in the pan for a gourmet souffle that slips right out. Plus the entire set is dishwasher safe and PFOA free.
Get the full 9-piece Gotham Steel hammered set for just 5 payments of $49.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But order now and we'll drop 1 payment. That's just 4 payments of $49.99. Plus, we'll include this free steamer and strainer, and our 5-piece bakeware set with every pan you'll ever need to make delicious breads, cakes, and desserts. That's a huge 15-piece set with free shipping. Call or click now.
Call 1-800-608-1538 or go to buyhammered.com.
We are back with Frankly Speaking. I was taking a sip of tea there. I just received a great question, and I can't say with 100% certainty that I know the answer, but if you have not heard, the Corning Painted Post School District $82.7 million facilities project vote was approved 475 to 147. So this, and remember, the reason I'm bringing this up, if you're wondering why I'm bringing up a school vote, because the vote was on December the 19th, less than a week before Christmas. So maybe you weren't aware of the vote, or maybe you weren't aware of the results. So this viewer said, is there a minimum voter threshold? An $82 million school facilities program is determined by approximately 600 voters. Would it have also passed if the turnout result was 95? Let's say it was 60 yes, 35 no. So because the language from the website said approved, it's approved in my opinion, unless I'm told differently. And I would also say if there was a concern about a minimum voter threshold holding up this $82.7 million, I do not believe, just using reasoning, I do not believe they would hold it on December 19th. For obvious reasons, less than a week before Christmas. So my educated opinion, perhaps, or just looking at a December 19th vote and thinking, would they do that if it wasn't going to be approved? No, I think that the ship has sailed and it has been approved. And I know I've heard from a lot of people on this and the frustration. So thank you for reaching out. Before we go, Chris Landau, he's a former law clerk for Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and the late Antonin Scalia. He declared the Colorado decision lawfare. That's what he's labeled it. I hope everybody's irony meters are just going off the charts tonight, because this is one of the most anti-democratic, which is interesting, because how often do we hear about threat to democracy, decisions we have seen in American history. That 4 unelected judges on a state Supreme Court have taken it upon themselves to disqualify someone who otherwise meets all the qualifications of the Constitution. It is terrifying to me as an American that this kind of lawfare is being waged, that courts are so presumptuous that they think it's up to them to decide who can be on the ballot to let democracy work. Why are these people so terrified that they're bending all the rules to get Trump off the ballot? Let the people vote. But if you look historically, Democrats have not put the faith in the voters very often. Look, again, if I were a Democrat, I would have been outraged at the fact that Bernie Sanders never had a chance against Hillary Clinton. That primary was just basically for show. So they've proven in the past it's not really about the voters. If you want to make it look like, or make yourself feel important, you get the I voted sticker and all that. Good, have fun, kids. But at the end of the day, what's going on in the smoke-filled rooms? And in this case, what's going on in the courts? Unelected justices. Interesting how this is all going to play out. All right, we are out of time. How about this from the Insider? The polling is clear, says Madison Hall. Biden needs to get popular again quickly or drop out. Well, it'd be very quickly, because to be on the ballot, boy, I don't think if he was going to change his mind, it'd have to be way before the end of the month, and we don't have much of the month left. And she goes through the horrible polling numbers. He's actually the lowest average approval rating of any president since former President Harry S. Truman, who was sworn in 1945. Isn't that interesting? And his polling's not good in he needs a good month on the campaign trail to get back on the right track kind of way. The president's current polling should be giving the Democrat Party immense reason to worry and creating an existential crisis to those working on his campaign. And a piece from Axios this morning. Biden is reluctant to accept his, quote, old age, is what aides say. By the way, quickly, New York to consider reparations for descendants of enslaved people. A good article at the Post from the editorial. Hochul's new reparations commission is a divisive lefty pipe dream. Check that out for yourself. Out of time. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you to Matt Towner. Tomorrow on the program, former Congressman Joe Sempolinski. So we'll see you then, starting at 7 a.m. And frankly speaking, only on Big Fox. Thanks for joining us.
All right.